Good day, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Strategic Financial Management. In today's class, we shall continue with our lecture on foreign exchange risk management. And we should not also forget that we are not going to treat hedging, right? We will not treat hedging. Where we are going to is international investment. And there is no how we want to solve a question on international investment without the mention of the conversion. It is not possible, right? So, and that is what takes us to some parts of foreign exchange. What is our focus? One, you should be able to know how to convert if it is direct or an indirect quote. Two, you should be able to identify a direct quote or indirect quote if Nigerian currency is not among the spot rate. Four, students should be able to calculate the forward rate, right? The forward exchange rate, probably for 4 years, for 5 years. Five, students should be able to understand how to adjust exchange rate with the two countries' inflation and interest rates. In adjusting for both inflation and interest rate of the two countries, which is the domestic currency and foreign currency, that is what lead us to the concepts that explain exchange rate relationship. And there is what we call purchasing purchase power parity theory. And what does this say? It says that the the exchange rates, right? The exchange rate should be adjusted for purchasing power is inflation, should be adjusted for inflation of the two countries. Should reflect the exchange rate, should reflect the inflation of the what of the two countries. Now, this means that if you want to get the forward exchange rates for 5 years, all right, in getting the forward exchange rate for 5 years, you need to adjust for the two countries inflation, which will be given in the question, all right. Then interest rate parity. Now, before I continue with purchase power parity, I'm sure that that is where we stop in our last class, which is yesterday, right? Then we want to look at question under the purchase power parity. This another part that students need to know when it comes to international investment is is appreciation and depreciation of currency. Plus appreciation and depreciation of currency. If the spot rates of one country is higher than the spot rates than the spot rate of other country, you could say, oh, this country currency is depreciating, right? Because you have Nigerian today, for instance, 1,650 to $1. You could say Nigerian currency is depreciating, right? Then you could say the other currency is appreciating because the spot rate of Nigerian currency is higher than the foreign currency, right? So students should be able to know that. Now, someone asked a question, and which a lot of people ask questions in this study, right? That makes me to go into a deeper research work, right? And if you pay attention very well, you don't need any textbooks for you to understand foreign exchange that leads to international investment. That's domestic currency. Don't forget, I've equally mentioned from the notes, which I will send to the platform, that that in a spot rate, in a spot rate where in a spot rate where there is no Nigerian currency class, in a spot rate when there is no Nigerian currency, what will be the domestic currency? The domestic currency will be the currency that has a direct quote. Please take note of that. In a situation whereby, in a situation whereby the spot rates of a company, the spot rates did not include Nigerian currency, what will be the domestic currency will be the country that has a direct quote, will be the domestic currency, right? Please, the person should mute his mic. Esang,
It's it's muted.
okay, that's fine. I'm coming, trying to. Okay, please confirm. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear
okay,
you.
okay, that's fine. I'm coming. I'm just trying to, I don't know what is happening to my system, but that's fine. Can manage. Okay, so, and that is the summary that will take us to the foreign, the international investment. So in today's class now, we'll solve a question under purchase power parity theory. We'll solve a question under interest rate parity. right, under interest rates, under the interest rate parity. So you can have an understanding of how it works. Okay, just a minute. Coming. Now, this is purchase power parity. Purchase power parity talks about inflation, how the exchange rate, how the spot rate can be adjusted for inflation between the two countries. And the purchase power parity (PP) can be stated mathematically as this. Class, what is the objective? The objective is to calculate the spot rate, the forward spot rate. The objective is to do what? Calculate forward spot rate, right? And this is the formula. This is the what? This is the formula, right? IF is the inflation of a foreign currency, of a foreign country, sorry. ID is the domestic inflation, right? The domestic what? Inflation. And for those who are confused about domestic or not domestic, so this is the time for you to get it right. This is spot rate. I just needed to rewrite it. There's nothing there. Spot rate divided by SI. The SI is the forward rate. I can use FR here. Forward rate. The forward rate. Right. So let's take an example, an illustration where we need to determine a forward rate. Now, note, I need to say this again. Note, let me repeat it again. Note, where the domestic currency, where domestic currency in Naira, in this case, is not part of the two currencies given in the question. The currency with the direct quote should be treated as a domestic currency in a situation whereby whereby the spot rate, right, did not involve domestic currency. So what would be the domestic currency, class? It is the direct quote. The currency with direct quote should be treated as a domestic currency. Illustration 1. Illustration 1. This is the spot rate. Then annual risk-free rate. Oh, this is risk-free. That is interest. Coming. Let me change this. I have to change this. Sorry, I'm coming. Oh, if the current, let me use this part. Current spot rate. Class, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. If the current spot rate current spot rate is 1.8500 and interest rates are as follows. The interest rates are as follows. Dollar, right, and euro. As follows. How many percent? It should be, let's say 6%. This part, let's say this is 4%. Then using, where are we safe? Which one are we even solving? Is it inflation? Purchase power parity, right? Which is inflation. Okay, I bring in interest. Okay, let me change this to interest. Let me change it to inflation. Inflation are as follows. Using purchase power parity, estimate the a the 1 year forward rate to the 6 months forward rate. Okay, right. This is under foreign exchange, right? Now, the purchase power parity talks about inflation, right? That is, the spot rate should be adjusted by inflation of the two countries, right? Now, the question now is, if the current spot rates, this is spot rate class. The question now is, Nigerian currency from our formula here has to determine the forward rate, right? There is no, what is given to us, no Nigerian currency. We're given, what is it called? The spot rate to be dollar to euro, right? Dollar to euro, dollar to euro is 1.8, right? So this is to say that dollar is 1.8, right? Then euro, you have 1 euro, right? Now, and Nigerian currency, don't forget, IF is the foreign currency inflation. ID is the domestic currency inflation. SO is the spot rate. Right? Now, in this case now, we want to determine the 1 year forward rate. So what will be the domestic currency? What will be the domestic currency? IF, ID. What will be the domestic inflation? Class, what will be the foreign inflation? SO, which is the spot rate, is equal to 1.8500. The forward rate, we have to calculate the forward rate. So what will be the foreign inflation rate? And what will be the domestic inflation rate? Class, suggested solution. Class, are we still together? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So what will be the foreign inflation? Since the inflation rate of each country, dollar 6%, euro 4%. So what will be the foreign inflation rate? Class, what will be the foreign inflation rate?
4%. 4%. That's euro.
Thank you. God bless you, right? That is what? That is 4%. Why the domestic, right, will be 6%. Because this is the spot rate. The one with direct quote, the one that comes first, is the one with the direct quote. Can you see it? Can you see it? It becomes what? It becomes a domestic currency. Now, what is the forward rate? For the first one is for a year, right? The first one is for a what? For a year. Coming. Forward rate is not given. So in this case, we need to put our formula as this, right? So IF is 4%, 0.04, ID 0.06. The spot rate is not given. The spot rate is 1.8, 1.8500. The FR is not given. So we can say equals to 1.04 divided by 1.06 is equals to, right, is equals to 1.8500 divided by FR divided by FR. What we used to do then, what do? We cross multiply, right? Class, we cross multiply, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So when we cross multiply, we can have 1.04 FR equals to 1.8500 times 1.06. What do we have?
1.961.
1.961. No, please. This is foreign exchange, right? 1 point what? Give me the figure. 1 point what? 964. 964 what? Is there any other figure after 9? 1. Yeah, please always add 1. Make it 4 decimal. Please make it 4. This is foreign exchange, right?
So it's 1.961 now.
1.
961.
1.961. Is there any other figure there after that?
No, no, no.
Okay, no. Okay, so you divide both sides. When you divide both sides by 1.04, so forward rate is equals to what? What is the forward rate?
1.8856.
Okay, thank you. So the forward rate is 1.8856. This is for a year. Class, when you want to determine a forward rate for 4 years, right? You know, this is for year 1. Class, listen. You see, one thing about this thing is that you need to understand, and that is what I want everybody to just calm, right? Just calm down. This is forward rate because we will need it. We will need it, please. In international investment, the project could be for 4 years, and what will be the forward rate using either the purchase power parity or the interest rate parity. Now, which means that your forward rate should be adjusted with the interest rate or the inflation rate. Plus, then this is the forward rate for a year. What if you want to determine a forward rate for 2 years? Let me quickly prepare your mind. What if you want to determine a forward rate for what? For 2 years. So which means that your formula needs to have raised to power of 2. The first one should be raised to power of 1. The second one should be raised to power of 2. Now, I want to test something. Let's test something together in this question, right? I don't mind. We should waste much of our time in explaining the forward rate for the next 4 years or in the calculation of depreciation and appreciation of a currency, right? Just get that. Once you understand that basis, right, and you already understand that this is direct or indirect code, you will not have any challenge, right? In what? In international investment. International investment is still your normal capital budget, but the only problem is the conversion, right? Is the what? Is the conversion. Now, let's assume that you are to determine forward rate for 2 years. Now, let's quickly test something here. Now, what do you think we can do if this is, let's quickly test something, right? Let's say for forward rate for 1 year and for 2 years. Let me quickly prepare your mind, right? We'll set question for ourselves and you say it. You say it. So 2 year, right? Forward rate. Now the question is, how do we determine this 2-year forward rate? Right? Because it has to be raised to power of 2. Because it is 2 years. The reason why we did not raise to power of this is because we say, okay, this is just a year. Is that not so? Now, we will test something if it will work, right? Now, the first one is our formula should change. Now, let's quickly test something. B, right? B, B. Please pay attention to this part, please. This is B, right? Then, the forward rate for 2 years. Let me quickly copy these parts, right? Forward rate for 2 years. Now, what would be our formula for forward rate for 2 years? You can change the formula to be forward rate equals to open brackets 1 plus IF, close the bracket, divided by the usual divided by 1 plus ID, which is the domestic currency, right? Or let me put all this, okay, right, times SO. Okay, let's put it this way. SO, which is the spot rate, raised to power of n, which is the numbers of years, which is what? The numbers of years. Now, class, all these together, they are together, which means that you have to say 1 plus I divided by 1 plus ID, and you raise it to power of what? You raise it to power of n, right? Which is the numbers of what? Which is the numbers of years, right? Now, we will test something. If this forward rate here is for 1 year, if we can raise this to the power of, since this is for 1 year, right? For 2 years, we can raise this to the power of 2, this 1.88, whether we will have the same answer. Now, we need to test this now. So in this case now, this formula has actually changed, right? Now, in this case, we can have, let me quickly copy this, forward rate, because it is for 2 years, right? So what is the domestic, what is the foreign rate, inflation rate? Class, what is the foreign inflation rate?
4%.
0.04. What is the domestic? 0.06 raised to power 2. What is the spot rate? The spot rate is 1 point what? 1 point, the spot rate is what? 1.85.
500.
Thank you. 1.8500. 1.8500, right? So the forward rate, because it is for 2 years. If it is for 3 years, you still do the same thing, right? So what is the forward rate? Now, what is the forward rate? Quickly, class. So we can break it down one after the other, right? Don't forget that all this, okay, let me put it this way. 1.8500, right? 1.04 divided by 1.06. What do you have? Divide these two all together. 1.0, 1 plus 0.04 will give you 1.04 divided by 1.06. What do you have? Hello?
1.0204.
1
Zero
point
point nine eight
1 point
zero 0.9811
0.9811
one one.
raised to power of 2. You raise this power of 2. When you raise it to power of 2, what do you have before you multiply? You raise it to power of 2, then you can now multiply. What is the forward rate for 2 years? What is the forward rate for 2 years?
0.96256.
0.
9625. 0.9626.
0.25 what?
6.
0.9625, right? Is it 0.9625?
Upper
0.9626.
estimated again, making it 6.
Okay. 26. Now,
0.9626. Now, since it's 4 places, we're leaving it.
okay. Now, this is the forward rate.
6.
Yes, now I'll put it here.
So if you
09
multiply everything together, you get. So that's not the final answer. Oh. I think she gave you the answer for
Okay,
0.9811 raised to power
okay,
2.
I'm coming.
So when you multiply
1.8500 times this. So when you multiply, what do you have?
1.78081,
1 point what?
78081,
7808.
1.
No, it's 4. 1.7808, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, please. This thing is too early, please. Please let's give figures, please. It's too early, right? Please, it's too early. So this is it, right? So why do we have to change it? It is still the same thing, right? But because this is for 2 years, 3 years you will still use this, 4 years you will still use this, right? But a year you can just maintain this formula. You can just maintain this because it is just for a year, right? Even for a year you can still use this. You can still use this formula, right? We can still test it if we will have the same 1.8856 for a year. Class, am I communicating, please? So I'm preparing your mind that you could calculate a forward rate for 6 years or for 4 years of a project while you are adjusting for what? For inflation, or you are adjusting for the two country interest rates, right? So whichever way you want to use it to make things easy for you, use, right? This is for this is for 1 year, this is for 2 years. You can use this for 3 years, for 4 years. You have your what? The forward rate. You have your what? Forward rate for what? For 2 years. Class, am I communicating, please? Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Moses.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, sir, sorry, please, my question is the raise to power, because looking at the brackets you gave, the
Put
raise
it,
to
put
power
it.
2
That is
is
why
not
that is
equal
why
to.
I said that I've mentioned it before. Put it, it covers everything.
Okay, thank you, sir. That is all. Thank you.
I'm coming. Let me see if I can have um can I have but you all understand what I'm trying to do here now. So there's no point. Just this bracket is this raised to power is for the two, both numerator and denominator. What you need to do is that divide the two and raise it to power, right? Divide it and raise it to power of what you have. So that is why I decided to break it down here. I break it down that, okay, 1.04 divided by 1.06, you have 0.9811 raised to power of what? Raised to power of what? 2, right? Raised to power of what? Raised to power of 2. Then when you have this, you have your forward rate for 2 years. So I'm just preparing your mind that you could have a forward rate for what? For 4 years of a project, right? When you have this forward rate, and this is what you will use for the conversion, because this forward rate has actually include what? Has actually include the inflation. We are in inflation, right? Purchase power parity measures inflation. It has adjusted. You have adjusted the two country what? Inflation. So what is the next question, please? The next question is the forward rate for 6 months, right? 6 months what? 6 month forward rate, right? So the C is 6-month forward rate. Please, if you are in this class and you don't understand and you keep mute, you didn't say anything, you're on your own. Oh. Better ask question if you don't understand. So C. So the C part of this question is forward rate, right? Forward rate for 6 months, right? The forward rate for 6 months. Now you could go back to the normal formula for the one I gave earlier, that when you want to calculate your forward rate, where is it? When you want to calculate the forward rate, since it is just for 6 months. However, we will still test the second formula, the one we use the numbers of years, which is 2 years, right? Since this is for 6 months, we could say 6 divided by 12. Is that not so? Then we'll use it. We need to test it now, so that you will now know that, okay, anything forward rate for 4 years, you maintain one formula. For 6 months, you maintain one formula, right? You don't need to say, okay, this is this, so that you will not get confused, right? So now, we move ahead to use this formula first to calculate the forward rate for 6 months. Then we will still now check for the other one, right? Now, this is what we have here as the forward rates from our formula here, right? Now, in this case, now the reason why we leave 4% here, it is because it's for a year. Class, it is because what? It's for a year. Now, if it is forward rate for 6 months, this 4% is for a year. Now, for 6 months now, it will be what? Times what? Times 6 divided by what? Times 6 divided by 12. You can see, if you use, oh, interesting. See, this is why you will have two options here, right? Times, this is 6 divided by 12, class. Because the 4% is for a whole year inflation. So you are looking for 6 months. You need to remove the 6 month inflation. Class, what is the 6 month inflation? Quickly, what do you have here? Figure. What is the 6 month inflation?
0.02.
0. What?
0.02.
0.02, right? That is 2%, right? 2%, 0.02. The next one is what? The next one is what? Quickly, please.
0.03.
0.03, right? So we can put it in our formula as this, right? The forward rate, So IF is 0.02, while this is 0.03. The spot rates we have here still 1.8500, right? Then the forward rates, the usual FR equals to, this is 1.02, 1.02, 1.02, and 1.03, right? So equals to 1.8. Favor, please, when it is 3 minutes or 5 minutes, please let me know so we can
All right, sir.
link. Thank you. Right, divided by FR. So please just give me final figure. FR equals to what? When you cross multiply, you have forward rate. Forward rate is equals to what, class? Just give me final figure quickly. Quickly. Give me final figure quickly.
1.8681.
1.86. 1.86.
8681.
8681. Please don't forget, please don't divide 1.02 divided by 1.03. What you need to do here is to cross multiply. If you do it that way, you get it wrong, please. Now, this is the forward rate, right? Or let's bring out the formula when it is 1 year, when it is 2 years, that you should calculate forward rate for maybe 4 years. Let's use this, right? Let's use it. Let's see if we have the same thing, right? So the forward rates, right? Let's see if we have the same thing, right? So what is the spot rate? The spot rate still remain 1.8500 times IF, which is okay, let's change it to be okay. Coming IF ID IF. Let's use the 4%. The 4%. The next one is 6%, right? 6%. I will do something here, right? Now, IF is what? IF is 0.04. ID is 0.06. What do you do for this N? So since it is for how many months, class? It is for 6 months. So you can have 6 divided by 12. Class, am I communicating? Class, am I communicating, please? Now, therefore, you can have forward rate equals to 1.8500 times. So, first, 1.04 divided by 1.06. Divide it first. What do you have? 1.04 divided by 1.06. Divide it first. What do you have?
0.9811.
0.9811 raised to power 6 divided by 12. What do you have? 6 divided by 12.
0.5.
What do you have? 0.
5.
0.5. Is it 5 minutes? Okay, 5 minutes. Please, when it is 3 minutes, let's quickly round up this part. Fine. So FR equals to 1.8500 times. Now, raise it to power. What do you have?
0.9905.
0.9905. So when you multiply this, what is your FR? What is the forward rate? Let's check. What is the forward rate?
1.8324.
Okay, it's 1.8324. Oh, it's actually close. 1.8324. 1.8324. It's actually close, but it is not. Okay. Okay, Mohammed.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I think Please, can you throw up the formula, the first formula? When
Yes.
we make F the subject of the formula,
Yes.
then the second formula it should be the domestic currency 1 plus inflation for the domestic currency over foreign currency, not foreign over domestic.
No. Why? Why?
Making FR the subject of the formula, I think.
No. No. Issue. Okay. Okay. Making effort the subject of the formula. No. If not, no. Is it 3 minutes? Okay, when we come back, we'll check what happened. Okay, is it 3 minutes? Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, when we come back, check. All right. Thank you. Body should just. Okay, now let's still change something. I'm coming. Let's change something. Let's change something here quickly. Right. We don't have the same answer. What we'll do is to just maintain our usual formula. When it is 6 months, you use that formula. When it is required for you to look for a year, you can maintain the other one, right? So let's quickly check something all together. Let's do that within Rachel. Let's do that within September. I'm with you.
Oh, okay, I guess what she said, she's right in a way because when you try to test it, it's actually give you the same answer. I'm referring to the formula answer. Except
What did you
if
say?
that is how.
Hello? I can't hear you. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I said I guess what she said. She's actually correct with what she said. Except if the formula is the same way it's supposed to be. I don't know if I'm correct. Like what she's
Okay.
trying to refer to as regard the change of the formula. The what's it called? For the second formula, where we have the raised to the power of 2 or raised to the power of n. So she's saying the domestic should be at the top, while the foreign should be at the denominator.
Why?
If we try to substitute, I'm sorry, if we try to change the formula by getting the value of what's it called forward rate, we are going to get the same thing with it.
Okay, if you do 1 plus ID divided by IF, right? We'll get the same
Yes,
thing.
yep,
I know. But
exactly.
why?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That, but I don't know if that's how the formula used to be or something. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Any other person? Quickly. Isaiah.
Okay, actually, I also tried punching it, but it didn't give us the same thing, but it was kind of closer than the other answer we got. I got 1.8677 using the domestic, then up, then the foreign down.
Okay. Without wasting much of our time, right? I don't want us to waste time on all these things, right? I don't want us to waste time on it, right? Let's quickly do something again. Lastly, then if we don't have it like that, what we'll just do is to just maintain the usual. When it is 6 months and when it is a year, you have to use raise to power. When you are to look for 4 years forward rates, raise it to power year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, right? There are also some other methods to do that as well, right? But if it is for 6 months, we just say, okay, just maintain the usual formula of 1 plus IF divided by ID equal to spot rate divided by so. Do you understand? So we can still maintain this when it is for 6 months, right? But therefore, let's change something here quickly. Let's change something here. If we multiply this by, if we change this times 6 divided by 12, then let's change this times 6 divided by 12. Then, so I think this one gave us 0 point what? 0 0.0 what? 0 0.0 what?
2.
0 0.02. 0 0.02. Right? Why this we give us 0 point what? 0 0.03. Right? So let's check it out. What will be the numbers of years? That's it. We've already used it. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. Let's see what we will have here. IF 0 0.02. This is 0 0.3. Okay. So what do you have when you do this? What do you have? When you divide this, what do you have? When you divide this, what do you have? When you divide this, what do you have? Hello?
We have 0.9903.
Okay. 0 point 0 point what?
9903.
9903. Right. So when you multiply this by this, what do you have? You multiply it, what do you have?
1.8321.
So one, still the same thing. So now let's do this way. So maintain this. I don't want to go by if it is direct or no, it will look confusing, right? So just picture it this way, right? Picture it when it is 6 months, you use this, right? When it is 6 months, you just have to use this. Then when you are looking for the forward rate for when you're looking for forward rate, maybe for 1 year, maybe for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you have to use this forward rate formula, right? You have to use this forward rate formula to get that, right? So just picture it that way. So we are done with purchase power parity. So do we have anyone that have question? Quickly before we move, please. Do you have anyone that have question? Can we move on now? Please, can we move on?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now just picture it that way. Now, don't forget this, that we can also make use of purchase power parity estimate percentage, appreciation and depreciation of currency against one another. So now in this case now, what if you want to determine, another thing is, what is the formula for calculating the percentage depreciation of a currency? You can use purchase power parity for the percentage to determine the appreciation or depreciation of the currency. You can as well use when we get to interest rate parity as well, you can use that as well, right? Class, you can as well use that. Now, what I'm saying here is that what is the formula for calculating? You can use purchase power, the formula, just like the way the formula is when you have 1 plus. Oh, okay, sorry. Just like the way the formula is, right? So we can use that. So if you want to determine the, what is it called? The percentage depreciation, right? The depreciation of currency or the appreciation of currency. Now, in this case now, this formula here is for depreciation of currency, class. This is depreciation. If you want to, class, in determine forward rate, please let's pay attention to this part. If you want to determine the forward rate, right? If you want to determine the forward rate, we've done that. Then, or let's start from the spot rate. The question is, is your spot rate, is it depreciating or appreciating? I've given us an instance where you have a Nigerian currency of 1,065, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Then you have to a dollar, right? In that case, you could say Nigerian currency is depreciating. And when it is depreciating, what is the percentage? What is the percentage decrease? What is the percentage in depreciation? Class, what is the percentage depreciation? So if you want to calculate the percentage depreciation of that particular spot rate, right? That particular spot rate, this is the formula, class. Depreciation. Depreciation percentage. This is the formula, class. Now, what leads to depreciation? Please, let's pay attention to this part. If you want to determine the percentage depreciation in a spot rate, right, is calculated as 1 plus 1D, which is domestic what currency, divided by 1 plus IF. IF is the foreign currency. Minus 1, you have your percentage, depreciation percentage, you have your percentage depreciation, right? Just like the way I stated that the Nigerian currency 1,650 to $1. What is the percentage depreciation, right? What is what percentage what depreciation? Now, in a situation whereby the Nigerian currency is not among the spot rate, the direct quote will becomes what? The domestic what? The domestic currency. Now, this is the formula for calculating. Can you see it? The formula for calculating what? So in this case now, in most times, you need to test for if your spot rate is actually depreciating or appreciating. So if your spot rate is depreciating, if you need to get what the percentage. So how will you know if this spot rate is appreciating or depreciating? Is when you see the spot rate, you now see that okay, if Nigerian currency is there, you now see that okay, Nigerian currency, what is it called? Nigerian currency actually have high what is it called? High spot rate than the foreign. Because Nigerian currency is depreciating, right? What is the depreciation percentage? Now, when you get your depreciation percentage, you will now look at it. What will be the forward rate as a result of this? Because when your depreciation percentage, when your spot rate is decreasing, what will be the forward rate? We'll get there. I'm just kind of explaining, right? I'm just giving an explanation to that, right? So this is the formula for calculating what percentage what decrease, which is percentage what depreciation percentage. Now, what is the formula for calculating if 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 a a currency is actually appreciating, right? 1 plus ID, right? 1 plus ID, 1 plus IF minus 1. So this will be minus. Now, this is usually in theory. Now, research work shows that, right? When I was doing my research, I discovered that the percentage appreciation could be calculated as for instance, Saturday, the old depreciation, the old spot rate, probably the spot rate as at yesterday, right? Or the spot rate as at Thursday, minus the spot rate of Friday. You can see that, or we say the percentage, or we say the spot rate of Friday, which is yesterday, right? Minus the spot rate of the previous, right? That is old, that is Thursday. Now divide it by your old, you will have a percentage what? A percentage either appreciation or depreciation. Now, sometimes when you want to determine percentage, what bring about percentage depreciation? I've explained, right? That your spot rate, you look at it, okay, Nigerian currency, is it appreciated? Okay, is depreciated? Okay, what is the percentage? What is the percentage decrease of depreciation? And that's the formula. So for the appreciation, you have to change it to 1 plus ID divided by 1 minus IF minus 1. But sometimes the formula for calculating percentage decrease, when you use it, you may end up having, if a percentage is decreasing, you're supposed to have minus 20. That shows that your currency has actually what? Decreased. Is that also has actually what? Decreased. It's supposed to show, okay, minus 20. Is that also okay? That's okay. The currency has decreased by what? 20%. But when you now calculate it, you have positive. What could have happened? So what it means is that that particular spot rate, it is not depreciating, it's appreciating, because you don't have a negative what? Percentage. Because when you have a negative percentage, it implies that the currency has depreciated by that percentage, maybe 2% or 20%, right? So I'm just stating an instance whereby you may think, oh, this is depreciation. Then when you now calculate, you now observe that, okay, check your spot rate again. Probably you did not actually place it well, but don't just relax and say, okay, since you have a negative percentage, so this implies that there is a percentage depreciation of so what percentage. So in a nutshell, is that when you are to determine depreciation of a spot rate class, spot rate depreciation of a currency, the first one. The second one is the appreciation class. Are we still together? Are we still together, class? Now,
Yes,
so
sir.
thank you. So that is why purchasing power parity, you can see that we still use the function. Is that also we still use the function. The only thing is that we change it, right? Because of the depreciation, right? Now, the same thing applicable to interest rate parity. What is interest rate parity? You need to adjust the spot rate to include the what? The interest rate of the two companies. You need to do what? You need to adjust. With that, any question? You have to go back. You watch it again. Sorry, sir. So the interest rate parity, right? What is the interest rate parity? The interest rate parity, you have to adjust. Says that the spot rate needs to be adjusted, right, for the forward rate, so that it will include the interest rate of the both of both companies, right? Of both country what? Currency. Class, am I communicating? So these are the relationship in what is it called? Foreign exchange. So what it means is that when you want to determine your forward rate, right, it will be stated in the question that, oh, using interest rate parity or the purchase power what? Parity. So when you see that they mention interest rates, oh, it means that your forward rate needs to be adjusted with interest rates, right? You need to include the interest rates of both companies in your what? In your forward rate, right? The formula still remains the same, but the only difference is that the interest what? The interest rate, right? Now, when you are to determine the forward rate for 2 years or 3 years using either the interest rate parity or the interest or the purchase power parity, right? You still maintain this. You still maintain the usual, right? You still maintain this formula. Please don't forget, this is very important when you are to determine the forward rate for maybe for 4 years. You have to start it one after the other, right? Then you have to do it this way, right? So that it will reflect the what is it called? The inflation, the interest rates of both what countries. But however, when you want to, if it is just for maybe for 3 months, you can use the first formula for you to get that. And don't forget that if the Nigerian currency is not there, how will you identify your foreign currency? Your domestic currency rather, your domestic currency interest rate or inflation rate, if Nigerian currency is not there, should be the what? The direct what? The direct quote. Class, am I communicating? Now, let's use one illustration. Let's quickly do an illustration. This is for forward rates for maybe 1 to 4 years, right? So let's quickly there's edging here. I'm not going there, right? Then I will do the summary before we take question. Now, let's say illustration. Please, if you are confused, please unmute your mic and let me know the area, please. Unmute your mic if you are confused. Hello, are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's say this is interest rate, right? This is what? The interest rate, which is interest rate parity. Don't forget, when you want to determine the forward rate for maybe 4 years, 6 years, change the formula. But when you want to use for maybe for 6 months, you can use this, right? You can actually use this for that. Please don't forget, because we will not do 6 months in international investment. It is usually, you want to invest, it is usually like 4 years, 3 years, right? It is usually like 4 years, 3 years. So which means you have to use this formula of 10%. 6 sorry, a minute. Okay. Okay. Let's see we have spot rates. If the spot rates, let's say we have if the spot rates coming, where is the spot rate? If the spot rate is spot rates, coming to spot rates, spot rates, spot rates, spot rates. So dollar is equals to 1.058. The annual risk-free. What is another name for risk-free rates? Risk-free rates. So we have euro, then USD. US dollar. So let's say this is 3.39%. Let's say this is 1.76%. Right. What is the 3 month forward rate? Right. Now, the annual risk-free rate is your interest rate because it is risk-free, right? Is your what? Is the interest rate because we are in interest rate what? Interest rate parity. The annual risk-free rate is what? Is the interest rate. So in this case now, we can use this formula. We can just bring in the first formula to be 1 plus this. So just a solution, right? IF. What is IF? ID, FR, SO, which is the spot rate, right? So what is the spot rate? 1.0. The spot rate is 1 point what? 1 point what? Class 1.058, right? 1.058. So class, what is the foreign currency? What is the foreign interest rate and domestic interest rates? Quickly, omit your mic, quickly. Hello?
Foreign is 1.76%.
1.72.
Domestic is 3.39%.
Foreign is what?
1.76%.
Okay. Then domestic is what?
3.39.
Interesting. Interesting. Any other person? We can see the spot rate, right? Nigerian currency is not there. So what will be the domestic currency class? What will be the domestic currency?
0.39%.
You say
0.39%.
0 point. I'm confused. Give me the what is it the
0.39.
wait, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. Is it the euro that will be the domestic or the dollar that will be the domestic? Which one? I need to understand that part.
The euro will be the domestic.
Euro.
Okay, okay. Favor. I don't know how you interpret.
That was what he said
That's what
now.
I said now.
No, he
That was
said
what he said.
he said dollar. That is what he said. He said
I he said
1.76.
inflation, the foreign rates. I said 1.76. That's dollar. The
Oh,
foreign inflation is 1.76%.
interest rates, not inflation. Interest rates.
So interest rate.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, 1.76% times 3 divided by 12. 3 divided by 12. Then this is 3.39 divided by times 3 divided by 12. So what do we have here? Then what do we have here? Quickly. Figure. Figure, please. We have about 22 participants, so try to give me figure now.
0.0.
0.0044.
Okay, the first one is what?
0.44.
0.44. Okay, next. What is this?
0.8475.
0.8475.
The foreign interest rate is 0.0044.
Someone got 0.44. You gave which one am I?
It's 0.0044, not 0.4.
Yeah, it's still the same. 0.00. How many zero? Still
3
the
in
same thing.
total.
Okay,
That's
it's still
three.
the same. Okay. So we can have forward rate equals to 1 plus IF. The first one is IF, right? Not this formula is IF, right? Then ID. So IF 0.044,
I don't know.
0.044.
Sir, sorry. I don't know. The first time I'm getting 0.44. I don't know how they came about the 0.044.
This is in percentage. What do you have here?
Okay, if we are to do percentage, that means the second one, we need to convert the second one to.
Okay. Did you convert this 1.76? Did you convert it? Wait, I'm coming. Did you convert it? Okay, let's do it this way. Don't worry. This is 1.7. Let's
No,
use the
sir.
usual. That is why I don't like converting. I don't like converting so that it will not look somehow. Multiply 1.76 times this. What do you have? Give me figure. Just give me figure. Don't worry. Just leave the conversion.
0.44.
0.44%. Just leave the
Yeah.
conversion. Don't use that one to stress, to give yourself a headache. What do you have here?
0.8475.
0.8475%.
Yes, sir.
So, and if you want to convert this, or if you want to convert this 0.44, it will be what? 0.004, right? Then this will be, or 0. What? 0.0, convert this 0.84. Come 0. What? 0.008475. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now this will be 0.004, right? Which is IF. Leave the conversion. If you know that to convert it to percentage and all these things will give you a day. That is why in my cost of capital, I don't convert all these things. I'll just use the ordinary figure, get my percentage and move on, right? So 1 plus ID, that is 0.0008475. If we have someone in this class that do not understand what we were doing, better talk. Then equals to the spot rate, right? What is the spot rate? The spot rate 1.058 divided by the FR. Please, I need final figure. We've been doing all these things. We did that in the first one under the purchase power parity, right? So what is the FR? Which is the forward rate. Now, what we did now, you see that we have actually adjusted for the two country inflation interest rates, right? And that is why we have to do that. This is the forward rate. Forward rate, quickly. Final figure. Okay. Let me just put this 0.04 divided by the next one is I just need final figure so that we can move forward. This will be what? 1.008475 equals to 1.058 divided by R, which is divided by U. So FR equals to, give me final figure, cross multiply, divide. What is the final figure? 1 point what?
27.
1 point what? Please, another person.
1.027.
I can hear you. Please, another gifted. I
One
can hear you.
point 0.0627.
Okay, 1.0627.
627.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the forward rate, right? For the 3 months. Okay. Any question? Should I do a summary? Should I do a summary of purchase power parity? Should I do a summary of direct and indirect quotes? No. Class, should I do a summary of please, do you understand? Please, do you understand the purchase power parity and interest power parity? Okay. So can we look at another question on that? Just a minute. Okay. Question. So this is edging, right? I will send these notes for those who have paid what is it called, for material, right? Can send this edging to them. So you can go through the hedging, right? This is hedging purpose, internal and external, right? So we're not going to touch that part. Okay. So let's quickly look at an illustration. Illustration what? Illustration. I think this should be illustration.
Sorry, you should ask a question if you should go through the direct and indirect quote again, and some of us would say yes.
I don't know. Can watch this thing again, but we'll still touch it when we get to that part. We'll still touch it. Illustration. This should be illustration 3, right? The first one is purchase power parity. Don't forget that purchase power parity measures inflation. Interest rate parity needs to adjust. It means that the forward rate, when you want to determine your forward exchange rate, you need to adjust for the two country the interest rate. So this should be illustration 3, right? So let's say we have country T as currency TS. T dollar, let's say T dollar as currency T dollar, and country P as currency P dollar. Current spot rate. Current spot rate should be maybe P dollar 100 equals to CS, which is 1. Annual inflation rates in country P is 8% and 20% in country T. This inflation rates are expected to remain constant for the next let's say for the next 5 years. Yes, let's say for the next 5 years, so you can determine the forward rate for 5 years. Yes. Required A. Estimate the annual rate of depreciation. Now we want to calculate depreciation, right? Annual rate of depreciation. Estimate the annual rates of depreciation of T dollar. B. Forecast the exchange between T% and PS. $T for the next 4 years. Okay, so this is a question that involves that requires us to determine the depreciation rate. Class, this is the question that requires us to do what? To determine what? Depreciation rate. Now, country T has currency T dollar. Country P has currency P dollar. The current spot rate is P dollar 100 and T dollar 1, right? Annual inflation rate in country P is 8% and 20% in country T. These inflation rates are expected for the next what? For the next 5 years. It means that this inflation rate, it is expected that it will be like that for the next 5 years. And that is why in international investment, they will always tell you that the inflation rate for the project is 5 years, right? Now, what is the annual depreciation? Class, what is the formula for calculating the rate of depreciation for TS? The rate of depreciation, suggested solution of TS. So we quickly go back and say suggested solution, suggested solution, right? Now, what is the formula for calculating depreciation of a currency? So it's calculated as 1 plus ID, right? Which is the domestic currency. You know, this is inflation rate, right? That is inflation rate. What's use inflation rate? That is the purchase power parity, right? Purchase power parity divided by 1 plus IF, which is the foreign inflation rates, right? This bracket is for both domestic and foreign, please, right? I will arrange it probably before I send the material, right? Now, this is how to determine the rate of depreciation. And why did you think the question says we should determine the rate of depreciation for TS? We don't know, right? Now, what will be our foreign or domestic? Let's say domestic interest rates, inflation rates, sorry, and foreign inflation rates. Now, from this looking at the spot rate of PS, no Nigerian currency is not there, right? So now the question is, which one of these two country currency will be for foreign and the one of domestic? Class, is it country P or country T? Domestic inflation rate.
Country T, domestic. Country P, foreign.
Why did you say country T, should be domestic? And why did you say country P should be foreign?
Okay, my reason is if this appear like an indirect quote, if you check the country T is $1, then the other one is 100. It appears like an indirect quote.
Okay. Any other person? Hello? Are we still together like this? Everyone is just voila.
Yes, sir.
So which one of these two currency is domestic? And based on my previous explanation,
For me,
since we know which one is the domestic and which one is foreign.
Country P.
for me, I would say country B is domestic. Then country T is foreign.
Okay. Any other person?
Country P domestic, country T foreign.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
this looks
is
like a
it.
direct quote. This is a direct quote. Though. He is the domestic currency.
That is it. I've said it that don't stress yourself. See, direct or indirect is for conversion. Leave that part. Leave it. See, all what you should just be looking at in the question is when you want to determine a percentage depreciation, you want to pick the domestic currency class. The domestic currency is, since Nigerian currency is not involved, it is the direct quote. The one that comes first is the domestic currency, is the direct quote. I've been saying this. See, forget whether direct. See, just know that the one that, since Nigerian currency is not involved, right? Is not there, right? Country country P dollar, which is on the, will be the domestic, right? Will be the what? Will be the domestic. And country T dollar, which is one, will be the what? We will be the foreign. Mr. Moses.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sir. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we can have the domestic. What is the domestic? PS, which is 8. Then the foreign is 20. So when you have this, what will be your percentage depreciation? What will be the percentage depreciation? So please figure. Please don't forget that this bracket is for both numerator and denominator, please. So we can have, I'll change it when I want to send the material, please. 0.08,
08,
then
0.2.
0.2 minus 1. So what is the percentage? Quickly, class. Quickly, please.
0.1.
0.1. That is 10%, right?
Minus 0.1.
Okay, minus. That's a very good one.
Yes. Minus
Minus.
0.4.
Now, what does that mean? It means that the currency T dollar will decrease by 10%. Now, this is how it works, class. Oh, interesting. I'm coming. Okay, so which means that country TS will decrease by 10%. The spot rate of this country T dollar will decrease by how many percent? Will decrease by 10%, right? Now we move to the second question, which says that we should do what? We should forecast, right? We should forecast B. This A, B, right? So we need to forecast, right? What do we want to forecast? B. Forecast the exchange rate between T and PS, that is open bracket P dollar per T dollar for the next what? For the next 4 years. Class, that is forward exchange rate. Class, that is what? Forward exchange rates. Forecast the exchange rate. See, it is not all tutor that we explain this part. Class, it is not all tutor that we actually what? Explain this foreign currency like this. Oh, 3 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Right? 3 minutes. Wow. So forecast the exchange. That is what? The forward exchange rate. Why we need to touch all this is because I want international investment to be like a giveaway question for you, because it may be compulsory. It may be what? Maybe compulsory or 20 marks question, right? Because looking at, oh, this thing is on record. Change. The forecast the exchange between T that is P dollar per TS for the next what? For the next what? For the next 4 years. So which means that we have to forecast for the exchange what? For the exchange rate, right? For the next 4 years, year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4. And that is what you will use to do your conversion, right? Under international investment, whereby the rate for year 1, we'll get there. Let's just continue with this, right? Oh, okay. So the forecast exchange rates for 4 years. The forecast exchange rates for 4 years. Let's quickly go and bring our formula. You have to do from year 1 to year 4, right? By now you should know the formula. By now you should know the formula for calculating depreciation of currency, appreciation of currency, and the forward rate, right? You should also know your conversion when it's time for you to multiply, if it is direct, when it's time for you to divide, when it is indirect. So IF, which is the foreign inflation rate, then ID, which is domestic. So foreign inflation rate, what is the foreign inflation rate that we use? Is 20. 20%. Then ID is 8%. The spot rate given to us, spot rates, spot rates. Don't forget that the question says that between T% and P dollar, that is P dollar, right? And don't forget that P dollar per what? T dollar for the what? For the next what? For the next 4 years. P dollar, right? P dollar. So what will be the spot rate? Now, which of these spot rates are we using? Is it P dollar or T dollar, class? Is it P dollar or T dollar? Which of the spot rates? Quickly. Hello? So since P dollar is the what? Is a direct quote, right? Is a direct quote. So we can have P dollar as a spot rate, which is 100. So we have P dollar. So we can have year 1, yes. P dollar, because P dollar to T dollar per T dollar. Year 1, 100. We open brackets. Okay. Open brackets. 1 plus IF. The IF is what? 0.2 divided by, don't forget that this bracket is for both numerator and denominator, please. Right. I think I have to correct that probably when I want to send the material. Okay. 1 plus the ID is what? 0.08, right? Then this is raised to power of the numbers, which is 1, year 1. Don't forget that this raised to power of 1 is for both numerator and denominator, right? So you multiply. So what is the answer, please? What do you have? Figure. What is the figure?
111.11.
What do you have?
111.11.
111, okay. Abi, IF. Coming.
So isn't it also about 4?
No. We want to do it year by year. Year by year. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. What do you have? What is the figure? What do you have?
111.11.
This will be wrong. 100 and what?
11.
11. This is very wrong, right? Now, class. This is you calculated the depreciation of minus 10. Class, you calculated, I think that is what this lady she's trying to prove then. But I'm trying to, now, you calculated the depreciation of minus 10%, right? Now, what does that mean? It means that, it means that, it means that your spot rate will decrease by how many percent? By 10%. Your spot rate will decrease by what? By 10% for each of the years. Class, you calculated a depreciation of minus 10%. What it means is that your spot rate, right? Your spot rate will do what? Will decrease by 10% in each of the years. Now, you are now having 110. Class, you are not having what? You have what? You have you have 100 and what? You have 110. Now, when you're having 110, it means that the currency is appreciating, not depreciating. Class, it means that what? The currency is what? Is appreciating, not what? Not depreciating. So in this case now, there are two ways you can use to solve this question. There are two ways, there are two methods, right? I can decide that this 10%, for me to get the the forecast exchange rate year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, I can decide that, okay, this is year 1, year 1, right? Now, the depreciation indicates that your spot rate will decrease by 10%, right? That is what it means, right? Your spot rate will decrease by 10% as a result of this. Now, don't forget, let's forget about this formula, right? Your spot rate will what? Decrease by 10%. Now, the spot rate is 10 times 10 times. Don't forget, everything is 100%. Is that not so? It's 100%. Then it means that it will decrease by 10%. 10, when you minus 10 from 100, you have what? 90%. Is that not so? So you can have 0.9, 0.9. Now, when you multiply this, what do you have? Class, 100 times 0.9, what do you have? What do you have?
90.
90. Okay. Now, in the year 2, right? In year 2, right? This will be the spot rate for year 1, right? Now, in year 2, the spot rate will still decrease by 90%. So we can still have 90 times 0.9. When you multiply this, what do you have?
81.
81. In year 2, in 3, the spot rate will still decrease by 10% times 0.9. What do you have?
7.9. 72.9.
72.9. Right? In the 4th year,
2.
we still have 72.9 times 0.9. What do you have? So the spot rate will decrease by, what do you have? Quickly.
65.61.
Okay. Come, just a minute. 65.61, right? 65 point what? 65.61. This is what we have, right? Now, when you are forecasting, you calculate your depreciation percentage to be 10%. What it means is that country PS, P dollar, spot rate will decrease by 10% on a yearly basis. Or if you don't want to use this method, you could say, or you could use the usual method, right? Or now, since this is a direct quote class, oh, this thing is loading. Oh, okay. Now, since this is a direct quote class, since this is a direct quote, country PS is a domestic currency, and we said when naira is not involved, the first spot rate will be your domestic currency, and that is the direct quote, right? Now, in this case, since country PS, P dollar is actually a direct quote, right? Because it's the first spot rate. There is no Nigerian currency. So in this case, this formula will actually change to ID IL. So therefore, this will be 0.08. Then this will be what? 0.2. Coming, you still ask your question. I'm coming. 0.2. Now, when you use it this way, what do you have? What is your figure? What is your figure? Figure, please.
$90.
Thank you. 90. So we come back to this place. You say 2 years. Year 2. Right? I can still copy this for year 2. Don't worry, you will ask your question, right? I know you have questions. This will be raised to power 2. This will be raised to power 2. Right?
81.
Okay. Just hold on, sorry. Okay. 81. Oh, my system. Just a minute, sir. 81. Right? Year 3. Don't forget that this bracket covers both numerator and denominator, right? I think I have to look for a way to change it now. I'm coming. Okay, let's finish this part first. This will be raised to power 3. What do you have here?
72.9.
72.9. let's save it again. 72.9. The fourth year raised to power 4. What do you have?
65.61.
51.61.
65.
65. Okay, that's fine. Now, why do we have to go through this route? It's because country PS spot rate to TS spot rate will depreciate by 10% plus. and you want to forecast. Now, favor, you want to embark on on an international investment. You don't want to invest in the Nigerian what is it called? You want to embark on investment, right? Then the project is for 4 years. The first year, the spot rate, you calculated that okay, the inflation rate for Nigeria and the inflation rate of the other company or the other currency 10-20, right? Then for you to get your conversion for each of the year, right? You need to like separate it. That okay, you have your percentage depreciation to be 10%. You are the one that want to do investment. What is your spot rate? Now, it indicates that the spot rate, your spot rate will decrease. Your spot rate will do what? Will decrease. Your spot rate will decrease by hello, please, can you hear me? I think the network logged me out. Hello?
So
Okay.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, that's fine.
But your system is not coming up yet. I don't think you
Okay, okay.
should.
Just a minute. Can you see my screen?
Boss, you don't dey sweat too. Not yet. I can see you.
Okay, good.
Like me,
You
we
don't dey
cannot see your
sweat.
screen.
Okay.
Well done, sir.
Exclusive. I beg. Exclusive say I don't be serious.
Go easy, go easy.
Sometimes. 6%. Okay. You can't see my screen, right? Okay. I think why my screen is loading. Now, you want to embark the purpose of.
I can see it now.
Okay, you can see. Now, the purpose of all this is you want to invest, right? You want to invest. And first is your currency. You that you want to, what is the percentage depreciation or appreciation in your currency? Now, if this country currency is depreciating, it means that the spot rate for the next 4 years will decrease by 10%. Then the question you should ask yourself is that when Nigerian currency is not involved, right? When Nigerian currency is not involved, the first one will becomes what? Your direct quote, which is P dollar, right? Establish that. P dollar is a domestic what? Inflation what? Inflation rate. Then you have to forecast for 4 years. It means that the spot rate for P dollar, which is the domestic, we do what? We decrease by 10%. You can use the usual formula, right? That is why you have, because when we calculated, we got 110. I was like, for depreciation? So it means that the spot rate is appreciating. That is what it means. You know, when you are doing something, you will know that this thing is actually wrong, because your forward exchange rate should not be what appreciating when you have depreciation of minus 10%. Now, since it is a direct quote, just like what you mentioned, Rachel and what is it called? What is her name? Okay, Fridaus, right? Mention. So since it's a direct quote, we could change the formula to be, okay, instead of 1 plus IF, it will be 1 plus ID divided by 1 plus IF, right? Then multiplied by the spot rate, raised to power the numbers of years, year 1, year 2, year 3. Favor, you cannot say raised to power 4 because you have an investment for 4 years. You want to know the rate that you will use for the conversion. So if you say raised to power 4 years, what is the rate for each of the years? Do you understand? So, and that is why we have to do this. So, if you have question, unmute your mic and ask your question quickly. If you have question, unmute your mic. If you have question, please unmute your mic.
Sir,
So now
I have a
understand.
concern, sir. Hello?
Okay,
Hello, sir.
I'm with you.
Hello?
I'm with you.
Yeah. So my concern is now, since this is a direct quote, the initial formula I'll have is SO, that's the spot rate over the forward rate, is equal to 1 plus foreign currency over the domestic currency.
No,
That's the domestic
that
rate.
one. Don't use that one. Don't use that one. You can't use it because that one does not have the numbers of years. So you can't
But
use it.
it will work, sir, since the direct quote. So that, because this one.
You can actually use it when you want to
Okay.
do your own individually, right?
Okay.
If you say it will work, do it if it will work like that.
Okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's my concern, sure. Because this one.
Thank you. Please, any other question? Permisi, Rachel, Gifted, Zainab, and Favor, exclusive. Okay, exclusive. Ifeoluwa, Olawale.
They don't sleep.
No, sir, I'm good, sir.
Okay. Oh. Please ask question. Oh. Onye, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. That's fine. So, are we good? Okay. So, I think we need to solve more question, right? No, we can't solve icon related question. See, see. Favor, you need to understand all these things first before I say I don't want to stress myself coming back to this part and be saying that, you need to decrease this. You don't know that before you say you want to solve, I can't, you can't have, you can't have a question like this in I can, just like this, unless it is attached to a question under edging, right? Unless it is attached to question under edging. I've done my research, right? So that is why I don't want to go there at all. Just want what you will need to solve international investment. That is my aim. That is what I'm trying to do, right? I don't want to go into hedging, right? Now, what you will need is for you to understand direct and indirect codes first. Understand that when you have, what is the formula for calculating depreciation of a currency, appreciation of a currency? Now, the interest rate parity, which is the formula, right? Go with the one that we usually have, that we have numbers of years. Go with that one. Then you will know that, okay, this one that have the numbers of years. So which means that if it is direct quotes, the formula it will change, right? For the forward rate, SO, which is the spot rate, the usual is SO, which is the spot rate, 1 plus IF divided by 1 plus ID, raised to power numbers of what? Years, right? That one is indirect, right? Now, if it is a direct quote, you will say, okay, since Nigerian currency is not among, it is not among the stated spot rate. So what will be the forward rate? Now, you've already calculated your depreciation to be 10%. Your forward rate, your spot rate should be decreasing because of that depreciation of 10%. If you want to use it that way. Or you could say, okay, I don't want to stress myself with direct quote or anything. I don't want to make mistake. You don't want to make mistake, right? So after you calculate your percentage depreciation, you can just say 100 times, everything is 100%. It will decrease by 10%, minus 10 from minus 10 from 100, that is 90. So it means that the first year, 90, the second year, 81, the third year, and that is how it is, right? Then finally, before we go, right, we need to solve one more question like this. Once we solve one question like this, in our next class, no more, we will just go straight to, oh, okay. Okay, please confirm. Do you understand? So there's no need to solve similar question like this, all right? Please confirm if you can. Should we do a similar question like this, or we should move on? Class.
Let's do a similar question, sir.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Because you will need all these things, right? So it is better to understand this part than to just rush into international investment, and at the end of the day, we'll start argument. This thing is direct, this thing is this thing is supposed to be. Why did you differentiate it? Why did you do it like this? So it's better for us to understand these parts. Another question. Okay. Let's say we go. I don't have the question. That is just it. Coming. Favor, please. When it is okay. Can someone give us a summary of what we did today? What we've been just give us a summary. I need a summary. Can someone assist us with that? I will call name. Oh. Should I call name? Exclusive. Exclusive.
Sir?
Okay, give us a summary quickly.
Okay, summary of what we did today.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, today we tried to look at the effect of the four-way equivalence on exchange rate, and we looked at purchasing power parity and interest rate parity. And then we stated that there are two conditions. It could be direct quote and indirect quotes, but we mostly looked at the direct quotes. That was what we mostly looked at today. And ah, okay, and then we started the formulas and everything, and you know, so that was it. And we also looked at the depreciation of currencies. Uh, uh, yeah, we looked at the depreciation of currencies now and the
Is that
formula.
all? Is that all? Exclusive.
I don't know. So 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 just look at the depreciation um, and then relate it with the spot rates. If it's a depreciation, if it's a reducing rate, you just have to minus from what the spot rate is for all the subsequent years. And if it's appreciating, then you have to add up to what the current spot rate is now to find out the forward rate for each of the years. Question. So that's summary for me.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Um, Gifted. Gifted, please quickly give us summary, please.
Um,
Gifted,
yeah,
summary, quickly.
okay. Today we talked about the purchasing power parity and interest rate parity. And then you said the purchasing power parity has to do with when there's an inflation on the currencies. And then interest rate parity looks at the interest on both of the currencies. Then we also checked the how to calculate the depreciation percentage on the currencies and how to get when the currency is also appreciating. We used the formulas and we did three illustrations today. That's it.
Okay, that's fine. Rachel, Rachel,
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, I
Go ahead,
think they
please.
said it all.
I know now.
I don't know. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. I still want to hear from you.
Okay.
We
We
want to
talked
hear
about
from you. Mm.
we talked about
We can't hear you again.
look at the illustration on that as well. And moving forward to what's it called? Depreciation and appreciation of currency. Yeah, that's it, sir.
Okay, okay, that's fine. So now, can please confirm if you can see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Oh, the next one is to forecast. Sorry, I need to just bring this out. Exchange rates between things. So please, can someone read for us? Volunteer.
Yes, can I reach?
Please go ahead. Kwemisire, give us summary quickly before you read. So,
Somebody to beat that.
you are there. No, give us summary. No. We need to hear from you, please.
Summary because is on and off. I'm just trying to have the understanding of. I must not lie.
You are trying to do what?
I'm trying to go along with you.
Okay. That's fine. But at least what you achieved, at least you were able to, at least you can identify, you can calculate depreciation percentage. Is that not so?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Just go ahead, please.
You are given the following information concerning country A and B.
Okay.
The requirement first. Required. Given the inflation rate in two countries, compute the annual depreciation rate of B dollar against A dollar. Use the most precise method. B. Forecast the exchange rate between A dollar and B dollar for the next 4 years about your I show your workings.
Okay. Now, we need to calculate the annual depreciation rate. Class, what is the formula? Please don't forget that this formula of depreciation, the bracket is both is for both numerator and denominator, please. Right? I will correct that maybe when I want to send the material, right? So the formula for calculating this depreciation rates, right? Depreciation rates of B dollar against to A dollar. Now, ID, what will Permissive ID, give me the percentage. What will be our foreign domestic inflation rates, and foreign inflation rates? Domestic inflation rate and foreign inflation rates. What is the domestic? What is the foreign? Hello? Okay, class. Which one of this is the domestic? Quickly, class. Which one of this is the domestic?
5%.
5%. Okay. That is the direct quote, right? 5%. So the other one is how many percent? 25%. It's 25%. Wow. 25%. 25%, right? So we can have our formula to be, please don't forget that it's for both numerator and the, so the domestic, quickly, 0. Samson, are you in this class?
Yes, sir.
Chai.
I dodged that question, sir. Well done,
Okay, quickly. Samson, what is the depreciation? Quickly. What is the depreciation? Minus what? Quickly.
16 minus 16%.
Minus 16%. So this is A, right? This is A. So B, what is the B part of this question? Forecast exchange rate AS and BS for the next what? For the next 4 years. Class. Forecast exchange rates for 4 years, right? So it means that the spot rate will decrease by 16%, right? The spot rate will do what? Will decrease by 16%. Class, 100 minus 16 minus 16 from 100. What do we have? That is 80 what? 84, right?
Yes, it's
Is that
important.
not so? So year. So quickly, year 1. So we can have what is the spot rate? What is the spot rate? AS spot rate. AS spot rate is what? Is 10. Don't forget. Between AS and BS. AS spot rate is 10. Right? So we can have here AS A what is this now? A dollar per B dollar. So we can have 100 times, so it will depreciate by, it will depreciate to 0.84 when you minus 16 from 100, right? Class, what do you have? Figure
84.
84, right? This is 84. Next, this is the second year.
7.56.
So we can have 84 times 0. So what do you have?
70.56.
70.56. For how many years? For 4 years, right? So 70.56 times 0.84. What do you have?
59.27.
59.27. The fourth year, 59.27 times 0.84. What do you have?
49.79.
49.79. Right? 49.79. Or alternative method, year 1, year. So we can have the same thing here. Alternative methods to this. Let me quickly copy this part, right? You can just copy this. So if you use this method, you will see that you will still have the same answer, right? You have the same figure. So this is 100, all right? 100. So what is the domestic? Okay, I need to change this. This is 1.5. So where is the formula? Let me bring it out. Where is it? So you can use this ID. What is the ID? ID is 0.05, right? Please, when it is 0.05, then this is 0.25. So what do you have? The first one, what do you have? Quickly, what do you have? It's still the same thing, right?
84.
84. So you can do that. You can do others, right? You can do the same thing to year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, right? So I hope we understand this now. Do we get it now? Class, do we understand this now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. You can see. So these are the things you need to know, right? You need to know how to calculate your depreciation, right? Once you calculate the depreciation, you decrease the spot rates by the numbers of years. When you want to calculate depreciation, you have to use either purchasing power parity or the interest rate parity, right? Then after that, you have to decrease your you have to get the percentage decrease in the what? In the exchange rate. Then you will just say it is very simple, right? International investment is very, yeah, okay. Sales minus variable cost, you have your contribution minus fixed cost, you have your net cash flow and all that. Then the conversion, and this is what you need to do for you to get the conversion, and that is all about it, right? Now, our next class, we discuss before we move closer, before we solve question in international investment, we need to discuss the reason why you need to invest. The reason why you need to do an international investment. What are the factors that affect international investments, right? We need to look at all those things because the question could be like, okay, evaluate the financial viability of this project. Okay, list or explain five factors that may affect AA Limited, right? When investing international, when considering multinational what investment. So you need to like understand all these things so that you can be able to do what, if at all the question will come under international investment as compulsory question or sentiment question, you'll be able to do what, you'll be able to answer it correctly. So do you have anyone that have questions? If you have question, on me to mic quickly before we go. No question. I think that's Monday. On Monday, right? We have Monday is public holiday. That's we'll solve question one of the high campus question on international investments. I will explain it. International investments, the explanation. Then we'll solve one question. We are done. Then see you in intensive class on Tuesday. Right? We'll do it like that. So, and that is it. Do you have any question for me?